Hi, this is William, and this is DevLog 5 Progress Update 3 for the Unnatural Investigations. Alright, so this is just another one of the updates. Nothing crazy, but there are some new things going on. Pardon me. So the first thing, there's some minor things. I did adjust it so you do walk. And before you were kind of always at a run, which in this particular thing you don't need to be running all the time. So yeah, you can walk, and you can still run with shift. So that's just pretty much changed the basic move speed. However, there are a few. I mean, I guess you can consider them kind of big changes to how some of the systems work. So before, I had mentioned the engineer being able to do lock picks and traps. We do have traps in there. Well, a trap, but the system's in there, so we can just add more. And I'll show you some more about the lock picking. Now, the engineer was one of those ones that it came out easy to create first, that class, and we honestly thought that the occult and the medium class would be a bit harder to flesh out in terms of what they do. However, being that they have different visions and they see ghosts and crystals and things like that, actually they became pretty easy. The forensic one was easy from the start, and the engineer actually got a little complicated because having areas locked is okay. However, it would, for us, it added a little bit of a kind of an imbalance. So for a while, we kind of put the engineer on hold. We knew they were going to get traps, and they did a lot of lock picking, but we kind of put it on hold. So we did rethink a lot of stuff, kind of put things into perspective. And the engineer still does lock picking and locks. However, now the lock system itself has changed. So is the trap system from the initial. So originally, like all the other interactive stuff, it was just kind of like a bar. So that's actually changed. And let me see if it'll pull up here. I do have it on test mode. Yeah. So for the locking, now you can see we got this. It's still essentially you do this timer. You're clicking it, but essentially we went with something that's a little bit more interactive. The lock one was really easy. Obviously, there's a lot of games out there that use lock picking. That particular one there, I can't remember which game uses that a lot. I know there's a bunch of them. I can't remember if it's one of the Fallout ones or one of the Elder Scroll ones. But anyways, that lock picking one, I mean, it works great. So we're using something like that for the lock picks. So there will be some doors, but however, you did see the little chest that we had there. And how it works now is for the engineer, they're lock picking and all that, and they'll be able to drop other stuff. But for traps, how we made that work is out spalled out through the map, kind of like random, like the rest of the stuff. You'll find different things that you can lock pick, and there'll be some areas like fenced ins and special rooms that you can unlock. But essentially, what you're looking for if you're the engineer is different elements to make the traps. So there is a new bench for the engineer. From that crate, I was able to get 20 scrap. Now this is like the base system. It's not fleshed out completely. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot more traps in this and things like that. But the first trap is a standard trap that does standard damage to all bosses. So how I have it set up now is I think I have it set for 10 or 15. Yeah, 15 scrap will make you a trap. And you can make as many traps as you want, as long as you have the material. There'll be more obviously than the scrap. Certain materials be like demonic in nature. You might have to find some kind of ancient relics, things like that, where you might need the help of the other one. Haven't fleshed that part of it out yet, but that's, you know, the base system's there, so we can just add traps. So, like all the other classes, you know, you pick the engineer. At the bottom, you'll see the new icon. The main one is the key, because it's like a locksmith kind of thing, or cracker. But you'll see beside it, he has like a little pair of pliers, and it has a 1. Obviously, that's 1 for the trap. The images, they're all temporary. I'm gonna have new ones created, but this particular trap, you know, just like the views, you know, being a occult or a medium, whatever class you are, you hit Q to essentially utilize its special, which is the visions for those guys. So for the engineer, you'll place a trap. And this, like I said, this particular trap is an area, you know, it's a triggered base trap, not for you. You know, you won't get hurt from it. It's only triggered by the boss. And this particular one, I think, does 500 damage, which, again, all that stuff can be adjusted. And it's made by scrap, so you'll find ample amounts of stuff around. So what it does is it makes a way. It added a way for us to have the engineer not feel so much of a straight support class, because they'll be searching for things to unpick and all that stuff. And after we came up with that, we did decide that what we're gonna do is, for the classes, like each class, you know, has a specific task, and it's gonna be more refined to the class. So lockpicking can only be done by if you're using an engineer class. Essentially, how we're gonna have it work is this: tools. The class, consider the classes as tool bags. So, you know, you pick up a tool bag for an engineer, and you have all your lockpicking tools. So you can't, like, anybody can't just go up to the chest that was there and pick it. You'll have to, you know, be in that particular class. Same thing with the forensic, and anybody can't just go search the body. Again, originally we had it so you could, it would just take longer, but it's still kind of, it's kind of, I mean, you need the right tools for the job, so whatever. That's what you'll do. And for the lockpicking, it's no different. You need lockpick tools. And nothing has changed for the leveling, however. Like, you still, even though it's interactive with the lock, which, let me go back out of here, I need to change it. It's interactive for the lock. It is actually, we got to take off the test thing. It's you still need to level up. So when you start off, that one that you saw, and I'll show it again when we go back to it. Let me just turn off the test here. Set the test so nobody will spawn on me, but that didn't make none of the other stuff spawn, which we need those. So, but yeah, the lock picking, just like the rest of them, is gonna be way harder than it is when you're level 0. And how it's gonna work is, the lock picking one is kind of like a bonus. Like you don't need to pick any of the locks and create any traps to actually beat the boss. So there will be some crazy hard lock picking. However, you'll gain experience by attempting it, by unlocking it, and doing other things. So it'll build up, and you'll be able to, you know, pick locks, and essentially it'll be the same lock, but that bar as big as, like, just to demonstrate real quick. Let's see. All right, you see how wide that bar is. That's not going to be that wide normally. When you're level 0, that's going to be a small bar, and it just mean, you know, it makes it so, you know, it's tougher. And that little the pendulum that's swinging back and forth is gonna go a little bit faster. Things like that. It's gonna be a tough thing. You're gonna really have to refine it. So not everybody's gonna want to play as an engineer, but those who like doing this kind of mini game kind of thing will enjoy it. Alright, so let's show the other changes. Alright, so there's the body. Now what you see now, everything's still the same here. You know, you got your body parts. Don't have a tool bag no more. Working on something different for that. That'll come later. But essentially, same thing. The higher level, it's easier. So this one is a QuickTime event. So you click on this, and essentially you gotta do the codes with the keys. Again, it's pretty fast right now because I'm a low level, and obviously too the R&D factor is still there for if by based on your level if you search the right spot. So these QuickTime events are they're not crazy hard. They're relatively simple, and we found it right there on the third one. But I think it's a lot better than just looking at a bar, just scrolling by, in my opinion. Now we do have a few things set up in the event. We do get feedback, and not people don't like it or something. We have other ideas. We also have it like perhaps like you'll be able to choose, and it'll just go back to the bar, and you'll just have to wait, but you won't be doing a little game there. But other than that, that works good. The occult thing, I believe, I can't remember in the last video if I showed the new art, but I think I did. But in any case, I got the new crystals. I created this one, and these are the actual, crystals that you find. Particle effect is pretty cool. It might be a little intense. Might turn it down a little bit. Not sure. I think it looks awesome, but that's the same. You collect those if you're the occultist. You look at the bottom right. You can see the little blinking head, so you got your vision on. Gonna work on maybe some filters, make it kind of look like you have a mask on, but everything else is implemented. All right. So another process is when you do the crystals. It's no longer a timer. It's the old, excuse me, it's the back and forth with the A and D. So it's like you're processing them. You go back and forth. And again, based on your level, that'll be a lot easier. Like right now, I think I have it set to, you have to do about 50 times. Like, A and D, you hit them about 50 times, and, that builds up the bar. I turned it off. Like, I had some more advanced stuff on there where, like, if you didn't hit it, if you missed one or you didn't hit one, it would go back. But that did make it way more complicated because I had so many. But I mean, you can kind of see where we're going with it. Like, you won't be sitting there just looking at a screen. Even though it's these small little QuickTime events, gives you something to do. And the processing the crystals, the same thing with the clue. Since they're not really thinking, that's why they're just random mash things. Whereas some of the other ones, like I'll show you the main crystal too. We updated that one as well. And this one, got the crystals here, your power level. I adjust the size of that. But essentially, you click this one you want to charge. You just line up the crosshair. And boom, that one's charged. Again, as long as you have the energy, each one takes 100. Again, these are simple QuickTime events. They're gonna be based on your level. So right now I have everything pretty much easy. So you got like crazy amount of times, like a second delay before you even starts to count down. That's not gonna be the case if you're a lower level. So, but it kind of you're not always clicking stuff. Type in whatever. And this one's a straight click. You got your result here. It does so it kind of differentiate what you're doing, and that's kind of where we're going. Like that was the last phase of our implementation of certain features. Like we have pretty much all the classes with base features if they're started. They're all started. Like the traps might not be fully implemented in terms of different traps, but the system's in place. So at the stage we're at now, a lot of the videos coming up after here probably will be shorter and maybe showing off some polish. Still working on, again, like I said, I want it to minimum get 30 frames per second for all the main levels before we have any, for any demo or any early access, any of that mess comes out. So I'll be doing a lot more polish when it comes to that. Other things that we'll be adding are actual physical base jump scare moments. Like these right here are all triggers for sounds. So like when you're walking in the woods, you might step on a branch or hear a wind gust or just something eerie and things like that. You know, I have these are all random, but that's how it works in the scene. So every level you go to will be different. So it'll have, you know, random, call them jump scares for these. These probably should be changed to more like audio effects. We are gonna get some jump scares in there. So, you know, that system isn't in there, and that one is not a major system. That wasn't part of the main thing we were working with. But that is one of the ones that we're gonna get in there. Probably well in there for early access. And what that'll be is it'll be more specific to actually like visual jump scares. So you may come around a corner right here and see a plate levitate and smash against the wall, or you may even see a eerie ghostly figure like walk or run at you. Something pretty creepy. So that is gonna be in there as well. But other than that, I think all the systems we have in there is where we're gonna go for the base. Anything added extra after early access will just be bonus stuff. And right now, again, polish is what we're working on. So gonna work more on the UIs for all those QuickTime events. Working on enemies, been polishing those, getting their animations looking good. The enemies are about probably like 50% complete in terms of functionality. Like they'll hunt you, they'll try to kill you. But right now they're not super smart in turn. You know, they'll essentially go straight for you, attack. You know, if they get hurt, whatever, it doesn't matter. They'll just keep attacking. As the game progresses, each boss that we have currently will go through several iterations where essentially they become more of a challenge. Like right now, a lot of them are bullet sponges. There are a few that are more challenging than the others. Just one example is some of our bosses are melee only, and the thing with melee only in games like this, or most games in general, when you're fighting it, like, you know, it's like right there in front of you, and it's melee only. If you're just backing up, like, the chances of it's hitting you are pretty slim if it's straight melee. So it kind of makes it easy to kill those. You just send them back. So we thought of a few things to counteract that. One of them is those particular types of bosses also spawn minions kind of things, and those guys are ranged and melee. So you're not gonna, you know, you have to watch where you're moving at. So there's chances you could get hit, and then if you do get hit by the big guys, they'll like cause like way more damage than if you got hit, you know, by a non-melee one. So those things are going to be fleshed out. We're thinking of other stuff too, like snares and things like that. Like some of the bosses may be able to snare you, so then you're stuck. But we haven't got into those yet. Right now, like, they're just straight up, you know, try to kill you however they can. The range bosses, there's two types of range too. There's some that are ranged only, and there's some that are ranged and melee. Again, those guys too aren't as smart as we're gonna make them. Like for the range guys, they'll kind of chill out there and they'll just shoot at you. But unless you get close enough, you know, they're not really gonna attack you. So like if the boss is right here and you're way over here, then essentially if you just didn't get close enough to him, he'll just keep trying to shoot at you, and you could potentially dodge a lot of his attacks. And here, so that's gonna change too. They're gonna be damage specifics and like what you hit him with. Like if you shoot him with a shotgun or something like that, it might anger them, they might charge you, or they might scream and freeze you. So that's part of the polish. All that stuff's pretty much where we're at now. We're at the stage where we're bringing it to an early access state. There's a long way to go in terms of the game itself. and depending on how many people enjoy it and what we get from feedback and whatnot, it could evolve to something much more or kind of head down different paths. But for early access, we got the core game is here, and right now we are in the polished state of that core game, and we're bringing it up to about 50% in terms of we'll consider it ready to play, and the single player will come out probably first. We'll consider that ready once everything's polished. There's no bugs that we've detected. Obviously more bugs will probably arise later with different computer setups, but with anything we're playing, we'll like make sure all the bosses die, all the clues of that, make sure there's a windscreen, you get your experience, you can level up, things like that. That'll all be in there, and I'll show more on those as I continue to flesh those out, but all the base systems are in there. And then another small change too is I removed the distortion effect. If you saw in the last video, I believe when I was shooting, it had a distortion effect that made it like hard. So I took that out. I might add it back later, maybe shrink it a little bit. Right now you just got the smoke and the fire and obviously the particle effect. But yeah, that's all I got for you this time. Again, I'll put more links in there. If you like what you see or you like where the game's going, if you have any comments or any questions or anything, put those in YouTube or whatever. Like the video, like it, and subscribe. Yeah, again, thanks for taking a look.